Hi, my name's Sarah and I design for Alldesign. Today's tutorial is going to be on knitting a double yarn over technique. So yarn overs and double yarn overs are ways of making intentional holes in knitting. Now I've made quite a few of them unintentionally in my time as well. However, in lace patterns you use both techniques to create a lacy fabric. So I'm wearing Rienne. This is a shawl design of mine from An Elven Reckoning, the book I released a couple of years ago. And this is how to knit these stitches. So if I just show you here, this little flower pattern is a single yarn over pattern. Each stitch has just one knitted stitch above it. This makes little holes, and the holes are bigger than a normal knit and purl stitch, which is why lace fabric often tends to be a bit looser and a bit wider gauge. This is the edging, and this has double yarn over holes. So if I hold it up so that you can see both together, you able to see that? As you can see, the holes are quite a bit larger than the single yarn overs. And if I hold it close, you should be able to see that above each stitch, so this stitch here, this hole, there are two individual stitches above it because it takes the space of two normal stitches. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to make the double yarn over when you're knitting. So I've created this little chart, and what I've done here is written out a few different ways that double yarn overs can be written in patterns. So the first one is just two yarn overs next door to each other. The second one will be y over yarn over times 2, and the second one is just y over 2. And then this is the chart that we're going to be working. Double yarn overs are normally represented by two yarn overs marks next door to each other. If you want to keep the stitch count the same on the following row, you have to match each yarn over with a decrease. So this pattern here, this chart, has a slip slip knit and a knit two together just after each one. When you're working a double yarn over, you cannot knit into both of these stitches. So if you're working in stocking stitch in the round, or you're working in garter stitch, you have to knit the first yarn over and purl the second, or vice versa. But there has to be one knit and one purl for it to work. So let's go on and show you how to do this. So I'm going to show you how the double yarn over is worked on this little chart. So if we have a look here, we're going to be working this direction along this row, the first row, and then back that way on the second row. So it starts off with a knit stitch, a slip slip knit, two yarn overs, a knit two together, and a knit one. This makes that there's always 6 stitches in this row. On the way back we work 3 knit stitches, a purl stitch, and then 2 knit stitches. So hopefully you can just still see that while I'm working. And this is a little bit of knitting that I started for this. So it's 6 stitches. I've worked the pattern once from the chart already. I did a couple of rows, just knit rows first, then I did the yarn over row, the second row, and then another 2 knit rows before I'm now going to start doing the pattern again. So I'll show it first in English style and then I'll do continental. So I'm going to knit one, work a slip, slip, knit, then I'm going to do the 2 yarn overs. So for the yarn over, I'm going to wrap the yarn round twice. So the yarn's behind the work, I come in front of the needle and over the top for the first one, and then in front of the needle and over the top for the second one, keeping the yarn at the back of the work. I'm then going to work a knit 2 together, and finally knit 1. So as you can see, I've still got 6 stitches on the needle, and those 2 there are my 2 yarn overs. So I'll turn it round, and now I'm going to work the second row. So the second row is knit 3, purl 1, knit 2. So 1, 2, 3. So the third one is the first stitch of the yarn over. If I knitted it again, so if I went to go and knit this one, it doesn't quite work. I don't know if you can see there, but the yarn overs are still present, and it doesn't actually make the stitch. So if I just take that last one out, this is the one that you have to purl. So double yarn overs are always followed by, on the row above, a knit stitch and a purl stitch into the double yarn over. So I'm going to bring the yarn to the front, purl a stitch, bring the yarn back again, and knit 2. And there's my yarn over. I'll just work one more row of knitting, just so you can easily see the double yarn over. There we go. Makes a nice big hole. So if I do the same but continental, I'm just going to switch my yarn over to the other side of me. So this is doing exactly the same row but continental style. I'm going to knit 1, slip, slip, knit, yarn over. I find yarn over is much faster to do continental style because you just literally just wrap the needle around. Knit 2 together, knit 1. Again, you can see my double yarn over there, and I've still just got 6 stitches on the needle. Turn it around, and I'm going to knit 3. Oops, this is a very splitty yarn. So knit into the first part of the double yarn over, purl into the second, knit 2. And then if I just work one more row of knit so you can see. And there we go. Another double yarn over. It will look slightly distorted because these stitches above are just still on the needle, but once they drop down a few rows it will look exactly the same as the other rows. So I quite like double yarn overs. It makes a nice big hole in the fabric. You can create some interesting textures, which is what I think we've done in the Mystery Knit Along. And I hope you found that useful. The thing to remember is that when you're working back on the row above, even if you're working in the round and you're working in stocking stitch, or if you're working in garter stitch, you always have to knit one of the double yarn overs and purl the other. It can be in either order, but you have to knit with one and purl the other to make the stitch correctly. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.